Hello, this is Bright Spark, and welcome to part 12 of Rift of Shadows. Super sorry for not uploading on Sunday. It was really chaotic because my birthday was on Friday, and I kind of needed a week to maybe take a little tiny break. Um, I should have the next Rift of Shadows on Sunday. I might not because I have a sports tournament that day, but I will upload it sometime during the next week. Don't worry. Once again, I apologize for this, but let's get on to it. For now, we finished what I've deemed to be the first act of this series, and so the next 3 weeks, or this is the third week, we will be focusing on certain characters and their journeys and the stories between the main events that happen. This week, we'll focus on Earth's perspective of events that happened to him. Let's get right into it. Earth regretted running away. He was such a coward. He had returned to camp, still devastated, and returned to the sisters, beginning to leave their camp. His friends and siblings had not returned, and worse, smoke was beginning to rise in the distance. Confused, he went up to one of the sisters and asked what had happened. She said nobody knew, just that they had to leave before the fire or the rogues, or both, broke their camp. Earth didn't want to leave. He would leave his friends and his siblings, and he had planned to leave for his wander soon anyways. He remembered past Tom's leaving and desperately missed them. Especially, no, he wouldn't think about him. He'd made that promise to himself when Violet became friends with him. He would find his lost kin. He decided to leave the sisters, and without a word disappeared into the direction of the glowing orange light that illuminated the dark sky. It had been a moon since he left, and boy did he regret that mistake. Hunting was beginning to become harsh. Leafall had taken force, and prey was running less and less, especially because of the recovering forest. It was hard alone. He'd found no such evidence of any of his friends still out there, except for the rogues that had begun going throughout the territory. But he still had hope. He was hunting when he bumped into a patrol of cats. His fur tensed. They were the rogues. Before he got captured, he wasn't exactly the best at fighting. Another cat swooped in and drove them off just in time. Earth later discovered that this cat was his long-lost father, Root. His mother had to leave him to be with the sisters, and Root had been sad to see her and her unborn kids go. They reconnected and soon traveled the forest in search of Earth's family and friends. A long time passed before they found out what had happened to the camp from a cat they met one day. This cat, who was named Snail, had said he had fallen in love with a cat who was part of the kin, which were the rogues, who later broke his heart, and he had gotten lots of information from her. SkyClan, who he knew was very important to Twig and Violet, was being hunted down and either killed or driven off permanently. Earth's heart dropped. His sisters were dead. Twig was lost, likely dead as well, and Violet, she was at camp still, likely being kept as a hostage, because Snail said he never even saw her. His heart soared. He could rescue her. Snail brought Earth and Root to go to his brother, Chestnut, and he revealed he was actually part of the sisters. And then it came to Earth that he remembered him leaving as a younger kid. He had been part of the sisters, but left to wander with his brother. Earth was ecstatic. Then Root, his father, began to form an idea. As a resistance to the kin and the suffering they caused, they could help form a group to save the SkyClan cats, and Violet too as well. The others were hesitant, but after talking it over, they'd agree. They would be called the Brothers. Time had passed, and Earth prepared his plan to save his captured friend. Root had trained everyone up. He was an outstanding fighter, by the way, somehow, some way, and a few other Toms that they ran into, who either once belonged to the Brothers or had wanted to help out, joined their cause. They were actually making progress, and even created a small space for the SkyClan cats. It was very well hidden, and slowly more and more of the Broken Clan were there, though it was only like 4 cats so far, mainly this one group of SkyClan cats who had been a family before. But they were beginning to become a full force against the kin, and to be honest, it was all thanks to Root. Earth was filled with determination, but it all changed when they tried to save Violet. 2 of the brothers had created a distraction with 2 of the SkyClan cats, who were happy to help, by the way, and Earth, Root, and Snail began to sneak into the camp. Earth realized this was where the old home for the sisters was. Anger filled his heart. They were ambushed, and Earth stopped dead in his tracks. A young and very thin, wiry she-cat stood in his way, her yellow eyes glaring menacingly. Earth barely recognized Violet. Violet? He meowed with emotion. She growled and looked at his company. Then her eyes flickered as if she was distracted by something, and she looked around hastily. Earth was confused. What had happened to his friend? She wasn't herself. Show yourself, cowards, she cried to the forest behind him, Root and Snail. Earth stepped back confused. There's no one else here, he said, concerned. I know that, Violet growled, her eyes looking crazy. You need to go, she said. Get out of here forever. But you remember me, right? Darktail, he's captured you, turned you into one of them. I need to save you, he began to think. I don't need a savior, she said, her voice rising. She let out a scream and lashed out at Earth. Her claws tore his cheek, and he became very, very frightened of his former friend. Root grabbed him. We need to run. Earth backed away, and turned back when his former friend yelled, I'm not Violet, I'm Crow. Shaken by this already, he didn't have time to pay attention to the surroundings, and he didn't see the killing blow coming for him from the bushes, but Root did, and he blocked it. Snail luckily had defeated the rogue who had landed the blow, but Root was bleeding badly, and Earth was crying when he crouched by his dying father. Earth, I wish I could have spent more time with you, he choked out. I'm counting on you to lead the group and be the protector of the forest. Please, help anyone you can. Then his eyes blinked, and Earth cried out in grief. He was depressed for the next few moons and focused on everyone else but him. He practiced his fighting and became quite good. It was all for his father, all for the brothers, and all for SkyClan. He had taken lead of the group and, despite his age, led them with determination, and slowly he began to see the light of the world again. He mourned the loss of his friend and father, but the threat of the kin was still at large. They needed to be the main attention he had. In remembrance of his father, to show his desire to keep the others safe, he felt like he should rename himself. Tree looked out at his cats, and despite his young age, he would be capable enough to stop the kin, to stop Crow, and most importantly, Darktail. Alright, that's it for today. If you enjoyed this, tell me in the comments what you think is going to happen next and what show this is inspired from. And once again, I am terribly sorry for not posting this on Sunday. Keep an eye out for the next one. It may or may not be on Sunday, but I will get it out next week. Bye!